two, three.
Hello everyone. Today I am going to cover a topic that is primary and secondary messenger. This is a part of signal transduction pathway. I already covered primary molecules or secondary or signal molecules. See, signal molecules in detail you have already gone through, and today I am going to discuss the next part of the signal molecule, that is the primary and secondary messengers. Before going to start with topic, let us revise what are the signal molecule. Signal molecules are those molecules which are produced by signaling cells, and these signal molecules are generally acting as a primary messengers. Most of the signal molecules are acting as a primary messenger except few exceptions. Say for example, you have gone through hormones, you have gone through hydrophilic molecule, you have gone through hydrophobic molecules. These all molecules which are signal molecule, they are acting as a primary messenger. Primary messengers are those type of messengers or those type of molecule which are generally bind to the cell surface receptor, and they are conveying messages from other cell and they are transducing message to the other one. It means primary messengers are those type of messenger which are generally carrying message and they bind to the receptor and they do not directly participate in the intracellular transduction pathway. So I am not going to cover primary messengers. The reason is I have already gone through the signal molecules, in which you have gone through signal molecules which are which are acting as a hydrophilic molecule, which are acting as a hydrophobic molecule, etc. But one of the exception I want to show you, that nitric oxide, NO, was a signal molecule, but this NO is able to cross the cell and they are enter into the nearby cell, and this NO molecule, that is nitric oxide, they are secondary messenger, not the primary messenger. Like in the same way, carbon monoxide, they are signal molecule, but these are again exception. They are signal molecule but not acting as a primary messenger, they are acting as a secondary messenger. So remember, except NO and CO, rest all you have studied, whatever the topic you have studied in signal molecule, they all are considered as primary messenger. See, the difference between primary and secondary messenger is, primary messenger is the primary molecule which are responsible for the carrying of masses, but they are directly not entering into the cell. They bind to the receptor, and after the certain changes in the receptor, now the message which is carried by the primary molecule or primary messengers, they are actually carried out inside the cell with the help of secondary messenger. So it means secondary messengers are carrying same message which was actually conveyed by primary, but since primary cannot directly participate in the transduction pathway, so they are binded to the receptor and their message will be completely same message will be carried by the secondary messenger inside the cell, and hence certain type of biological responses occurs. So here in this topic, since I have already covered primary molecules, it means signal molecule and primary messenger, in this topic I am going to cover secondary messengers. Secondary messenger was first time discovered by Earl Wilbur Sutherland. He discovered secondary messenger, and for that he got Nobel Prize in 1997. After the discovery of this secondary messenger, several secondary messenger has been discovered, and it was observed that they are playing very important role. Let's see what are the role of secondary messenger, but before that let's see what is the property of secondary messenger. As a property, secondary messenger have one important feature, that is they relay signal. They relay signal, it means primary messenger is the original molecule which are responsible for the for passing the message. It means they are actually carrying message, and their message will be relayed or conveyed by the secondary, and hence you can say they are responsible for the relay signal, and they pass this signal, or you can say pass the message from receptor to the target. It means primary messenger bind to the receptor. Up to that time the role of primary messenger is over. Now from receptor to the target, the message will be conveyed by secondary molecule or secondary messengers. Now come to the next part. They are also responsible for the amplification of signal. It means if one signal molecule will bind to receptor, several secondary messengers are activated, and these several secondary messengers are responsible for the amplification. Amplification means they are responsible for the activation of several type of kinases, and hence we can say the generalized term, that is amplification of signal, and several molecules has been generated inside the cell. Now third is, it is one of the important component of the signaling pathway. See, in the signaling pathway there are several molecules which are working. In the previous video I have shown you that signal molecule bind to receptor, receptor have changes, after changes secondary messengers are activated, secondary messenger activate protein kinase, this protein kinase is responsible for activation of other kinase, and finally the target occurs, they bind to the target. So among all this system, one of the very important system or part is secondary messenger, hence we can say it is important component of signaling pathway. One important feature is they have short lifespan, it means they are short lived. Short lived is very important. Reason, say one signal molecule will come and they bind to the receptors. When they bind to the receptor, after binding, whatever the message they want to convey, they convey it. Then finally secondary messengers are activated. Now these secondary messengers are responsible for activation of several protein kinase. Protein kinase are working inside the nucleus, they are able to work with the other kinase, then other kinase will activate other kinase, and finally biological responses occurs. Now no more biological responses are required. On that time secondary messenger as well as primary messenger both should be deactivated. Primary messenger are deactivated by desensitization method, which I have already explained in the signal molecule. But how secondary messenger is deactivated? It's a very simple mechanism. They have short lifespan, after certain time period they automatically deactivate. So no need to desensitize the secondary messenger. That is one of the very important feature of secondary messengers. Now types. Secondary messengers are of various types. They are categorized as hydrophobic, hydrophilic, as well as gases. Earlier in the signal molecule, that is primary messenger, also I categorize the same in the by three mode. Like in the same way secondary messengers are also categorized by this three mode. They may be hydrophobic, hydrophilic, or gases. Hydrophobic molecules, the best example is diethylglycerol, which is also considered as DAG. So diethylglycerol, remember that point. And second is PI, that is phosphatidyl inositol. So these two are very important molecule which are hydrophobic in nature. Second is hydrophilic molecules. These hydrophilic molecules are of several types. The important one is cyclic AMP, then second is cyclic GMP, then third is IP3 and calcium ion. Then third is gases. In the gases, NO, CO and H2S, they are playing important role. Among them you have to study NO only. The reason is NO, though it is a signal molecule, NO is considered as a secondary messenger, and NO play very important role. There are very minor role of carbon monoxide and hydrogen sulfide. So in this topic here I covered DAG, PI, IP3, cyclic AMP, cyclic GMP, calcium ion and nitric oxide, but I didn't cover CO and H2O, but because they are not playing as much important role, and hence this topics has been detailed here. Let us start with the first one, that is cyclic AMP. Later on I will explain you what is G protein coupled receptor and how transduction process occurs in details, but one by one, if you will see what are secondary messenger and how it is working in this scene, the most important role is played by cyclic AMP. Cyclic AMP is activated by the ATP and the enzyme involved is adenylase cyclase. But try to understand from the superior path. At first hormone will bind to the receptors. Once hormone will bind to the receptor, receptor gets activated. After activation of receptor, this receptor is already associated with the G protein. Now the G protein which becomes activated, this G protein are responsible for the activation of one enzyme which are membrane associated enzyme. The name of enzyme is adenylyl cyclase. This adenylyl cyclase becomes activated and they are responsible to break down ATP to convert ATP to cyclic AMP. It means ATP will be broken down and finally ADP and IP will be formed. Now this IP will be separate and finally this IP, they are converting this ATP into cyclic AMP. Cyclic AMP and AMP both are looks to be similar, but there are certain differences. If cyclic AMP will be present, it means they are acting as a secondary messenger. But if cyclic AMP do not require in huge amount, or they do not require for their particular feature, now cyclic AMP can be converted into AMP, that I will explain later on. First, try to understand what is the role of cyclic AMP. Cyclic AMP are having several type of responses. At first, cyclic AMP is responsible for the activation of protein kinase A. So it is cyclic AMP dependent protein kinase A. Basically, protein kinase A is present in the cell, but they are present in the inactive state. So it is generally inactive. Protein kinase A consists of R2 and C2. It means they are having 4 domain. 2 domain is R and 2 domain is C. Here R means it is C for catalytic and R is regulatory. It means in protein kinase A is made up of 2 regulatory protein and 2 catalytic protein. Regulatory and catalytic protein, if they are binded, overall this protein kinase A becomes inactive. Reason is protein kinase A, as the name suggests, they are kinase. It means they are responsible for phosphorylation. But for phosphorylation, only catalytic domain must be required, R2 is not required. Until and unless R2 is not going to leave C2, C2 cannot work. It means catalytic function occurs only when R2 will separate from C2. So initially protein kinase A becomes inactive. It is present in inactive state. It means R2 and C2 are combined. Now once cyclic AMP is formed, the 4 cyclic AMP, 4 molecule of cyclic AMP will join to the protein kinase A. After this joining, now this 4 cyclic AMP will bind to the R2. It means this 4 cyclic AMP will bind to the regulatory region, and they are removing regulatory region from the catalytic region. It means catalytic domain will be separate and regulatory domain will be separate. So the main role of cyclic AMP is they are responsible for the separation of catalytic domain from regulatory domain. They bind to the regulatory domain and hence it becomes inactive. Now catalytic domain is separate. This catalytic domain are responsible for catalysis. It means since it's a kinase, they are responsible for phosphorylation. They phosphorylate serine threonine. So they are responsible for the phosphorylation of serine threonine of the particular molecule, and now it is considered as active protein kinase A. So the role of cyclic AMP is they are responsible for conversion of inactive protein kinase A to the protein kinase A, that is active protein kinase A. Now second thing is, suppose this cyclic AMP or protein kinase A do not require in huge amount, or further they do not require. What is going to be happen? I already told you that secondary messengers are having short lifespan. It means after certain time period, automatically cyclic AMP becomes deactivated. If it is deactivated, it means R2 is free. If R2 is free, R2 will join to the C2 and again protein kinase becomes deactivated. So overall the conclusion is protein kinase A was initially inactive. If they required to be function, on that time cyclic AMP bind to the R2 region of the protein kinase A, it will be separate, and then C2 will be separate. C2 is catalytic and they are responsible for phosphorylation, and hence protein kinase A is active and they are doing certain function. One of the important function I have shown here, that is glycogen metabolism. As you know that glycogen metabolism is one of the important metabolism in our body, and glycogen is basically it's a storage form of glucose. When we are taking glucose in our diet, when glucose is present in the huge amount in the blood, they becomes problematic. So excess amount of glucose is converted into glycogen and stored in the liver. But whenever we are in the fast or feel hunger, on that time this glycogen should be converted into glucose. So conversion of glycogen to glucose and glucose to glycogen, these are the common metabolic function of the body. Here remember, for the glycogen metabolism, what is going to happen? 2 important enzymes play very important role. One enzyme is phosphorylase kinase and second is glycogen synthase. Remember, phosphorylase kinase are responsible for conversion of glycogen to glucose phosphate. It means glycogen is a storage form of glucose. If our body needs glucose, whenever our body need glucose, on that time glycogen should be converted to the glucose 1-phosphate with the help of enzyme phosphorylase kinase, right? When you require glucose, It means the second enzyme, that is glycogen synthase, should not work. What is the role of second enzyme? Try to understand. Glycogen synthase is just opposite of phosphorylase kinase. The role of glycogen synthase is they are responsible for conversion of glucose to glycogen. It means these two enzymes are totally opposite with each other. Phosphorylase kinase is responsible for conversion of glycogen to glucose, whereas glycogen synthase is responsible for conversion of glucose to glycogen. Now, what our body requires? Our body requires glycogen or our body requires glucose. So remember, suppose you are feeling fast, hunger. On that time, your body, it means our body, they are requiring glucose. So when glucose is required, it means on that time, the remaining glucose should not be converted into glycogen, because our body needs glucose. So glucose to glycogen conversion should be stopped and glycogen to glucose conversion should be started. So it means this enzyme should work and this enzyme should not work. Now see how this overall things are related. I'll start from the first. See, hormone will bind to the receptors. After hormone receptor binding, now hormone receptor binding G protein becomes activated. This G protein is responsible for activation of adenylase cyclase. Adenylase cyclase is responsible for conversion for activation of cyclic AMP. ATP becomes cyclic AMP. Cyclic AMP having certain responses. The response is cyclic AMP is responsible to bind to the R2 region. R2 becomes separated, C2 becomes free. C2 is catalytic. If C2 is free, it means protein kinase are having kinase activity, it's open. Now this kinase are responsible for phosphorylation. They phosphorylate phosphorylase kinase. This phosphorylation must be needed. They are known as active phosphorylation. It means if this is going to be phosphorylated, this enzyme becomes activated. So the role of protein kinase A is they are responsible for phosphorylation of phosphorylase kinase. It becomes active and they are responsible for conversion of glycogen to glucose 1-phosphate, and hence in our body the amount of glucose will be increased which we require. But exactly on that time, glycogen synthase must not be required. So protein kinase A, they are also responsible for the phosphorylation of glycogen synthase, but it is inhibitory phosphorylation. So phosphorylation may be of two types, they may be active, they may be inactive. So phosphorylase kinase phosphorylation is active, whereas glycogen synthase phosphorylation is inactive. Due to inactive phosphorylation, this pathway is stopped and no more glucose is converted into glycogen. It means the amount of glucose which is remain present in the blood is still present, whereas glycogen is also converted into glucose, hence total level of glucose in our body will be increased. This is one of the role of protein kinase A. Like in the same way, several roles are also present. See, cyclic AMP have several roles. One of the role I have already told you that they are responsible for activation of protein kinase A. The other role of cyclic AMP is they are responsible for binding with the CREB protein. CREB is basically cyclic AMP response element binding protein. It means these proteins are activated only when cyclic AMP will bind to them. So once cyclic AMP is bind to the CREB protein, CREB becomes activated and they are responsible for gene expressions. It means this pathway is not only related to the protein kinase A, this pathway is also responsible for activation of CREB protein and finally gene expression occurs. Overall, the conclusion is once cyclic AMP will be activated, they are having several domains for the function. For example, here two domain I have shown. One is activation of protein kinase A and second is activation of CREB protein. Now suppose cyclic AMP is no more required. On that time, this cyclic AMP is converted into AMP. It means this cyclic form will be degraded and it is converted into AMP. Conversion of cyclic AMP to AMP will be done by phosphodiesterase enzyme. Phosphodiesterase is one of the important enzyme, and once it observed that cyclic AMP may not be required for the longer time period, it converts cyclic AMP to AMP. AMP is the inactive form and they are not working. So this is the first secondary messenger which is completed. What are the other function of this AMP, cyclic AMP, and details of all these things I will show you when I will explain G protein coupled receptors. Now come to cyclic GMP. Cyclic GMP is a second important secondary messenger. They are activated in the same manner which I have already explained in the cyclic AMP. First, hormone will bind to the receptors. This receptor will be activated. G protein will be activated, and this G protein will be responsible for activation of guanylyl cyclase. The only difference between these two is the previous one was related to the adenylyl cyclase and this one is related to the guanylyl cyclase. Since adenylyl cyclase was activating cyclic AMP, this is guanylyl, they activate cyclic GMP. So ATP becomes cyclic AMP on that time. Here for the conversion, for the formation of cyclic GMP, it requires GTP. So ATP to cyclic AMP, and here in case of guanylyl cyclase, GTP is converted to the cyclic GMP. Now this cyclic GMP is not only produced by G protein coupled receptor, this is also produced by NO. NO is third type of secondary messenger. It is one of the secondary messenger. So though NO is secondary messenger, it's a very important thing here. One secondary messenger will activate other secondary messenger. It means NO itself, it is a secondary messenger produced in the cell. They are responsible for the activation of other secondary messenger, that is cyclic GMP. Sometimes there is a confusion that cyclic GMP is a secondary messenger or tertiary messenger, but it is generally considered as secondary. The reason is, in this pathway cyclic GMP is acting as a secondary. In this pathway, see, NO is secondary and they are activating cyclic GMP. It looks to be tertiary, but we are considering it as a secondary also. So it means NO, whenever needed, NO will be stimulated and will be synthesized, and they are responsible for the stimulation of cyclic GMP. Either cyclic GMP will be formed from NO or it is formed from guanylyl cyclase. Finally, this cyclic GMP is responsible for activation of protein kinase A. You might be noted that in case of cyclic AMP, adenylase cyclase was activated. A for adenylase cyclase, they activate cyclic AMP, A for AMP, and they activate protein kinase A. So the common thing is adenylase A, cyclic AMP A, protein kinase A. Like in the same way here, you can understand and remember it as guanylyl cyclase G. It is using GTP G, convert into cyclic GMP G, and the protein kinase activate is G. So protein kinase will be protein kinase G. Now they are having certain type of responses. Some of the examples I have shown here. The role of protein kinase G is they are responsible, or either through protein kinase G or directly through cyclic GMP. There are three important roles I am showing here. One is rod cells in response to the light. When light and dark phenomenon occurs, it means we are in the light and we entered into dark. Dark means suppose light will gone, there is no light, there will be dark. And suppose light will suddenly the light came and finally our eyes are facing light. On that time, to adjust the light by the rod cells, they are playing very important role. So role of rod cells in compensation of the light will be done by cyclic GMP pathway. Second is vasodilation. Vasodilation, or we can say it is blood vessel relaxation. So these all are related to the NO, or indirectly we can say they are related with the cyclic GMP. So this is the completion of three secondary messenger. One is cyclic AMP, one complete. Second, cyclic GMP, and in this diagram only I have covered third one, that is NO. NO are secondary messenger, but they are playing role through cyclic GMP only. Now come to the fourth one. Fourth one is PI, phosphatidyl inositol. This phosphatidyl inositol are actually phosphorylated, and if it is phosphorylated, it is considered as phosphoinositides. There are several types of phosphoinositides. These phosphoinositides may be single, may be double, may be triple. It means if phosphoinositol will be phosphorylated one times, they are considered as PIP. If it is phosphorylated two times, it is called PIP2, and if it is three times, this is considered as PIP3. So remember, PIP, PIP2, PIP3, this all can be formed. Now among these three, two play very important role. The actual secondary messenger which you will study, it will be produced from PIP2 only. how it is responsible for the production of cyclic secondary messenger. Let's see. When signal molecule, especially I am talking regarding the peptide hormone, when peptide hormone, which is acting as a signal molecule, will bind to the G protein coupled receptors, these receptors are responsible for activation of phospholipase C. It's an enzyme. So phospholipase C enzyme is activated. This enzyme will be responsible for the hydrolysis of PIP2. It means there are two parallel pathways, right? First pathway is peptide hormone are responsible for activation of G protein coupled receptor. This G protein coupled receptor will activate phospholipase C. Now if PIP2 is present, this phospholipase C will hydrolyze PIP2, and this PIP2 will broken down into two segments. One is DAG, that is diacylglycerol, and third is IP3. Now this DAG will bind to the first try to understand IP3, inositol triphosphate. Inositol triphosphate are actually, once it is produced, they are actually free molecules. It means PIP2, which is membrane associated. Try to understand here, this PIP2 is membrane bounded. Once it is hydrolyzed, the one part is still bound with the membrane and other part is free, which can move in the cytoplasm. Now IP3 is movable part. They will now bind to the ER, that is endoplasmic reticulum receptors. Now ER receptor will be open, and after opening of ER receptor, the calcium ion which is generally stored in the ER, they release. So remember, the storage house of calcium ion is usually endoplasmic reticulum. This IP3 is acting as a messenger, and this messenger will bind to the receptors, and finally ER receptor will open, calcium ion will be released outside. Now calcium itself acting as one of the important secondary messenger. So this is other unusual example that one secondary messenger activate other secondary messenger, that is calcium ion. Sometimes calcium ion is also considered as tertiary messenger because it is activated via secondary. Now calcium are having dual type of function. One, this calcium ion with the help of DAG as well as phosphatidylserine, this with the help of calcium ion with the help of DAG and phosphatidylserine are responsible for production of, or you can say activation of, protein kinase C. Now third protein kinase you can observe. See, in cyclic AMP it was A, so we have said that protein kinase A. In cyclic GMP it was G, so the kinase produced was protein kinase G. This time it is calcium based, so C for calcium, that's why this is protein kinase C. It's not a theory, it is just for the remembering purpose that here it is protein kinase C. So protein kinase C will be activated with the help of DAG and phosphatidylserine. Obviously calcium will be present, and they once activate protein kinase C, certain type of biological responses occurs. Now see other role of calcium. Calcium is also playing important role by the activation of other kinase. See, calcium itself is a secondary messenger. Now calcium will bind to one of the protein known as calcium ion binding protein. It is calmodulin protein. Calmodulin protein when once bind to the calcium, it becomes activated, and activated calmodulin will release calmodulin kinase, or it is also known as CAM kinase. It means fourth kinase is activated. See how many kinase we studied. In cyclic AMP we studied protein kinase A. In cyclic GMP we studied protein kinase G. In calcium it is protein kinase C, and calcium is also responsible for activation of other kinase, that is calmodulin kinase or CAM kinase. Now CAM kinase will activate, and they are responsible for the contraction of smooth muscle. So here this is overall completion of role of calcium. So what I explained here is basically secondary messenger system. Secondary messenger, just revise fast. Secondary messengers are those messengers which are relaying messages of primary one. It means primary is the major messenger, but they cannot relay signal inside the cell. Secondary messenger play important role to relay signal inside the cell. There are various types. They may be hydrophobic, they may be hydrophilic, they may be gas. Among gas, NO is important secondary messenger. We have first gone through the cyclic AMP. Cyclic AMP is responsible for production of protein kinase A. Cyclic GMP responsible for protein kinase G. then PI responsible for calcium ion production, and this calcium is responsible for production of protein kinase C and calmodulin kinase. So these 4 kinase once produced, they are responsible for the activation of other kinase, and finally either protein will be phosphorylated, other protein will be activated, or they are responsible for gene expression. So this is overall about the picture of secondary messenger. In next video I will explain G protein coupled receptors in detail. Thank you.